Welcome. So today, a bit of Kanban and a bit of code. I'm working for LesFurets.com. It's an insurance aggregator like Geico in US or Compare the Market in UK. And we are a brand from Compare the Market, in fact. I'm in Lean Summit. I have to speak about my product. I want to speak about code first, but I'm obliged to speak about the product. I forget about the user, but the product, I got it. The product is quite simple from the outside. It's 5 insurance products. We are trying to compare as much insurers as we can and provide it to the users. We are doing massively TV advertisement to get a big brand so that people type on Google LesFurets more than insurance. It costs less. We are paid by contract signed at insurer level. So the insurer, the user, and ourselves are aligned to get the best contract for them. We can't really cheat on that one. And we have around 2.5 million quotes, so risk or prices displayed for users per year. The engine behind is between 40 and 200 questions, yes, to get a fair price and an exact price. When you have 10 fields for Expedia or for traveling, so we have a lot of questions, and we don't have a single engine to request all the insurers. We have to map to each web services of each insurer. So we have, that's our core work, is to be connected to each crappy web services of insurers. So it's a good work for us to connect, to be in a good relationship with insurers. And it's an interesting work to set up a working product on top of that. And we have to provide prices. And from a year ago, we've decided to embed a payment page within the insurance aggregation site for the insurer. So people can stay only on our site and get an insurance, which is a cool feature. Behind that, the competitive advantage are quite classical. It's we have to get as maximum offers as we can. So we are a kind of big broker. And the quality of the offers, the number of offers, the speed of getting the offers, there's many subjects where we have to be good at, and the UX also on top of the website. So we have to get all the business of an IT system with a database, from database to UX, insurance, user interfaces, and everything. So. Behind that, we have a team of 23 developers. The company is 70 people in France. And we have a 500,000 line of code, which is not that big, not that small. We have a single code base. So we have 25 people working on the same big code base. We've read many books about testing and things like that, so we have a quite clean code base with 40,000 unit tests, 200 browser-based tests, so it's 6 hours of browser testing, and that didn't move much last 4 or 5 years. The code base size, the number of tests, and the number of regression tests, but we rewrote the software a lot. We are trying to do that. And where we are now, we are releasing every day the work of the 25 devs. And it's what I'm trying to explain today, working not in a trunk-based fashion. It's too classical, so we've tried, and we went in another way by separating all the development in a different branch. So we have 25 devs working in each in a separated branch, and it's what I'll try to explain today, why and what we discovered from that. At the end, we have around 30 branches in parallel, and we can deliver every day what is ready. What is 500,000 lines of code? The size of that we try to compute, and it's twice Harry Potter books, which is a good way to appreciate the size of what we are working in. And the dictionary version is really closer to the software. Dictionaries with definitions, it's more functions, and the size of that is around, for me, 7 big dictionaries. And we have 25 devs working on that on a daily. Daily they are modifying 10 to 200 lines inside those 7 dictionaries. And we are publishing a new clean one, which is perfect, which has to be perfect every day. So we've got quite a lot of learnings from that. There's low risk that they modify the same piece of paper, but we have to review everything all the time. Why did we try to get on daily releases? It's because I accidentally read a lot of books, and one of them is just a simple paper, the Agile Manifesto. I'm coming from the Agile world at start, and the first principle, it's not the values, it's the first principle, contains a lot of interesting things. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customers through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. There's a big piece of lean in that. That's the first principle of Agile. And simply focusing on that, I worked for 2 years to just try to achieve that a bit better every day. And that principle is really, really interesting. Then, for those who forgot to read things last 10, 15 years, those 2 books really summarize really, really, really well the whole universe of Lean, Agile, continuous delivery, and everything. So the Lean Enterprise book, and Jez has written a really fabulous book on that. It's downstairs, so don't let some go back in US with that. So it's a good book. My survival kit is how Google tests software. I learned how to really build and shape a testing mindset for devs. So we don't have any QA team. It's the dev alone who are testing and delivering the software. How to measure anything, I won't speak much about that, but it's a way to take decisions. And the 3 big books about continuous delivery and the way we organize the daily releases is Principle of Product Development Flow from Don Reinertsen to learn about lead times in the software world and why delivering small batches has a huge interest. So it's a book who blew my mind. Continuous delivery also. Jason Ball again, and the Kanban book about summarizing for dev teams how to work in more continuous way and to get outside the sprints and planifications and things like that. So the 3 books for me are the basis for the teams who want to release the software in a really continuous way. That small image helped me a lot to understand that when you want to release more often, there's 2 big impacts. In fact, there's one impact on the code base organization. How do you organize your code base, and how do you organize your testing? So it's a really interesting article from Facebook 4 years ago. It's when you release each 3 months, you can develop a big piece of software with many people and test it at the end, just before the release. For 1 week or 2 weeks, you can review everything, test everything, spend some time with a dedicated QE on it, and you have a brand new product to ship. But if you want to improve your lead time for the features, because the lead time for the features here is more around 3 months or less. But if you want to go to 10 days, 1 day, or many times a day, you have to shape your code base differently to accept releases every day. And moreover, you can't retest everything. So you have to somehow get rid of the QE department. It's not that the QE department can't do the work. It's not possible to do the whole QE set all the time. And as you're developing less and less software every day, you don't have to retest everything. So there's a huge change in the organization due to the will to deliver more often. That's the impact is, from my understanding, this way. So the learning here is when you want to reduce the time to market, you do smaller batches, you want to release often, and releasing often has an impact on your organization. So we can said that in different ways, but what we felt is releasing more often pushed us to organize the development, the team, the code base, the code organization in another way. And releasing more often, it's not the purpose of my talk, give you some more feedbacks, crashes also, more often, but it's someone told me it's a gift, but not sure yet. Trying to summarize the continuous delivery book in 5 points, for me, that is a core belief in on what we focus for the dev team. Having a fast build, the developers have a result of what they're doing is good or bad locally, really fast. That 2 developers can't break each other's code. Easy and automated deployment, so that you can give to someone the website or your product to test. So those 3 points are simple, but it's really hard to set up that if you don't have that in your team. But it's the easiest one. The real learning for me came from the runtime monitoring, because if you want to release more often, you won't be able to retest everything all the time. So the bet is to go fast live, and if you have an incident, to be able to roll back or to get to fix the issues fast also. You won't have many issues, so there's no use to test everything all the time because the developers are not that bad. And you can go live with good confidence, and if you have the monitoring, you'll fix it fast. So it's a virtuous cycle for me. So that point was the real negotiation with my bosses. I say, I will release more often, have a shorter lead time. I may have some issues, but I'm getting monitoring with business monitoring in it, so we'll see if that breaks the business really fast and we can fix it fast. Instead of waiting that we are sure there's no issue when there's no issue in fact. And after you have when you have some incident, you have to deeply understand why, because if you don't fix the root cause, it will come again, but I won't teach you that. And at the code level, the inspiration is Git. I'm not sure everybody is using Git daily, so I'll humbly re-explain that to you in a moment. So it's the way to manage code. There's some modern way to manage the code, and it had a huge impact for our team. We switched from SVN to Git and totally reorganized the way we worked, and that's my purpose here, how to manage code, and what's the level here. So I have a piece of code, Hello World for basic developers, and my name is Dimitri Baeli, and I'll discuss about 3 kind of changes. There's the first kind of change. I want to say hello to Lean IT. The second one is, my name is Beastie Furets, so Hello World is back to normal, so that's the single. I'm just changing the line. My name is Beastie Furets. I went back to the original text. And the third change, so there are three different independent changes, is allows Beastie word. Beastie word is because the dev team on Twitter and the website of the dev team is called Beastie Furets. So we have the three different changes. A change is a commit. So here you have the history. It's a line. You imagine the version of the Harry Potter's book, and each dot is a change. And here I have a change. A branch is a copy of the whole Harry Potter. So a dev, when he starts a new branch, he gets a full copy of the original and does his change on it. That's important. You have his change, only the lean IT part, and on the other commit, you have the other change. They are not seeing each other. If we want to merge those two branches, then we have the two changes. So you have separated changes in different copies, but you can merge it with the system. And that's when things goes right, and when things goes wrong, when the two changes are on the same line, you see it. There's two branches, and there's some conflicts, and that's really the bad part of our work. We have a huge waste of time here by whole developers all around the day fighting against those conflicts. So I can't measure the time spent on solving, on resolving, and trying to understand why there's a conflict. So it was important for me to explain you that there's somehow a big waste here. Probably you don't know because you don't code every day, but as a CIO or you have to get and to understand if your team is losing a lot of time on that. And we tried a few things. So I have a summary here. I won't spend a lot of time. Commit, history, branch, merge, conflict resolution with the small displays. It's just to understand the follow-up. Back in 2012, so we had monthly releases, a good Scrum team, agile for 4 years, many sprints, well organized, and we were doing monthly plan with estimations, coding at the end of the sprint testing, and we released at the end. So it's 12 releases a year, and the style was sprints. So we run faster, faster, faster until we deliver. And a small display of the code. So here you have the place where the development team works. Here it's the production, and every month every dev can do some coding. And I'll go here quite fast. It's here the commits for one feature, and the devs have to push all the steps of their feature on the main branch. And you have many places where you can have some conflicts and headaches and many weird things at that place, and the software can break. So it's why we take a week of code freeze where nobody touch anything. We ensure that everything is good, and we deliver. And in that time, 4 semaines, sorry, it's weeks, and you have your release, and it's a product where it's a sprint of coding, where you release at the end. The pressure is at its height here. The best pressure is here, just before the release. What a good idea. We had some difficulties about build time, 500,000 line of code, and the test took like 15 minutes. It was a lot. And the browser testing was taking 1-2 hours, and the week of manual testing was quite high. So we decided to release a bit more often from that. The goal was to release weekly, so it's 50 releases a year, sorry, not yet a week. And same kind of thing, a planning for a month, or we could have a planning for a week, but it was more a month. We kept the same organization, a monthly big releases, and we decided to say that one change that is ready to go live, why can't it go live? What is blocking to go live? Nothing. So we decided that we can replay the changes that are that have value. We can replay it on the production. That's kind of when you have an emergency, a fix to release on production, you have a patch, so you can release it. We decided to go that way because it has value. You gain 3 weeks of delivery, and if your patch process is not robust, I hope you don't have incidents. So if your patch process is robust, why don't you use it? And that's my question, in fact. So we went this way to release weekly, cherry picking, so taking the features that were interesting. We didn't change much the organization, but we just wanted to deliver a bit more often onto that. So it's a bit cheating, a big cheating, if you want, but that does the work, and you have a lot of rework because you have to do it twice, but it has a value. It's fair for me. You have value. So with that, we worked a lot on the build time. So the waste of 15 minutes, we went down to 3 minutes. So it's possible to compile a 500,000 line of code with 40,000 tests in 5 minutes. The computers are getting more power and things like that. So it's really good to know that. The regression testing was still a bit blocker. But we improved at the developer level. The learning for me is what I said about the patch process. If something goes wrong in your system, you have to fix it. So I hope that you have a strong process to release your incident. If you don't, you're crazy. Fix it and get a proper process. And if you have a proper process, why don't you use it? So you're blocked onto that. You have. My question is, why don't you use that process as your main process? When you just released your software, you have an opportunity to release it again with a small feature which has some value. The blocker things are the tests, for sure, but if you have a shortened way to do the test and to ensure that there's no big regression, you can use that. And it's what we've done. And we shaped a bit the system for a year onto that. Then we decided there were a bit too much overwork. So we tried to release every day for 2 reasons. The regression testing with Selenium and the browser-based testing, we went a bit mad taking a big server with 128 gigabytes of RAM, and we put into that 50 Firefox browsers, everything in RAM, and it went really fast. So it was a good surprise. It took 15 minutes to test the whole system, just putting everything in RAM. So it's a cluster of browsers in RAM. Surprise. And with that, it was possible to do the full test of the system in 20 minutes. So it helped. And the other thing is we wanted to release daily. And when you release daily, you have an issue with. So you can do what people suggest you to do is commit everything every day and release everything that you do. So a trunk-based deployment. It was a bit hard for us from where we were. So we tried another way, is to keep branches and to try to have a robust test system onto that. And what we've done is, when a developer has a branch with a commit inside, we decided to just test if it merges with the release, the master. We do the merge, we test it, and we check if it works. We've done that with 2 branches, 10 branches, 50 branches, and the fact is, we try to merge everything. Usually it works, because you remember, I have the 2 sets of Harry Potter's book. There's low chances of conflicts. I have a small set of conflicts as I release daily. I'm not accumulating a month of work, so I have fresh branches with small changes, so there's really low risk of conflicts. And the fun part on that is that I discovered that asking the developers to avoid conflicts, so when there's a conflict between 2 branches, the previous behavior was to fix the conflict, to resolve the conflict, and to get a version with the 2 features. And I discovered with that you can't release the features separately anymore. You're jailed. The features are linked with that. And I was more preferring to keep each branch separate until it's ready. So that's the Kanban mindset, is I want that when a feature is ready, it goes live. And when a feature is not ready, it continues to live its life as long as needed. So it's really the independent recommendation of the stories or the features or the Kanban cards. A branch is a future feature in your system. So keep it until the last moment. It's really taking everything backward, but I'm French, I'm allowed. The system is that one. So we keep the branches. We ask the developer to avoid to have conflicts, and they're succeeding into that. So it's a bit complex. You have to try. But if you ask people to not modify the same parts, they are quite good at that. So avoiding conflicts, there's many ways to avoid conflicts. There's some videos we've done onto that to describe that. And we keep the branches independent until the last responsible moment. So that's really the mindset of how we work. It's a bit hard to explain, but it's been 2 years we are using it. We are doing like 250 releases a year with that, with around 30 to 40 branches on the same time. And we have what we've called a continuous merge of all branches. If it doesn't merge, 2 devs, we can say to the 2 devs, your work and your work is conflicting, please speak together. But at the end, what we have is, for one developer, it takes the production code, does a branch, does his work, and when he's finished, goes live. It doesn't have access to other parts of code that are not finished. So you won't use a code that is not finished, won't you? And if someone is blocked, it doesn't block anybody else. So on the paper, that's a new way of working we discovered, a bit by accident, but it's quite interesting. So we open sourced the way to work like this, the tool that does the merge of all branches to check it, if it works, and then you drop the result of your merge. It's just for testing. It's open source, but in fact it's just a git merge all the branches. It's a single command, and we've added onto that a way to discover which branches or which features are conflicting. But it's quite fun. It's fun for the devs, and they like it. So on the summary, you have many issues in parallel. We have a continuous merge and testing. If it doesn't merge, there's things that are broken. You have to fix it. And when you have some tickets that are ready, you don't have to know which one will be ready. If it's a small ticket, it will go fast. If it's a ticket that is blocked, that some people need some more time to think about that, there's nothing blocking the others. It's not pure lean. I can't predict when things will go live, but it's another work. It's why I'm studying a bit more aggressively lean those months. But at least I have independent features until the last moment, and we can't really cheat onto that. And if we are doing some messy things, it goes really messy. If you want to do simple things, it's simple. The simplest thing I can say is when a developer is on his branch and he sees an issue, a bug, where does it come from? His code or the runtime? So fix it. That's simple. And when everybody was working on the same part, if you see a bug, oh, it's probably a mistake or a mix with others, or it's probably the fault of another developer, I won't fix it. So it's a quite interesting way to force people to fix bugs before delivering. And the learning for me is, yes, that. Don't block the others. Have a way to work that lets you focus on what you're doing. If you're late, you're late. There's a good reason for that. You can't, on top of that, block the whole release. If you're blocked, you're blocked. And we can do that by avoiding conflicts. And the bonus I said, but I've shown you, is don't use unfinished code. And the way we work enforces that. So well, that's a summary after the daily releases. So really, it's the 15 minutes regression testing that really helps to jump to the daily releases. We have a quite fast test cycle. And the releases are done by a developer alone. It just collects all the features that are ready and push them live. And we have even some visitors pushing the button because everything is ready. If it's not the fault of the guy who's pushing the button to release the software, it's the people who said, my feature is ready. When it's ready, I don't do any manual tests about all features that are ready. I have more details on that, but now we can focus on the value, the features, the monitoring, and the root cause analysis. We don't have anybody merging the code or spending time. We just detect there's an issue. The developer managed to avoid the conflict, and nobody ever fix a conflict in a branch. So that's it. Learnings. Release early, release often. That's the core mindset about continuous delivery. You can do it step by step. You'll find your way. Be patient. The batch process is a good cheating to release more often. As I said, if you can't use it, there's an issue. Avoid merge and conflicts is a fun thing I found that if you resolve a conflict of two features, you can't release them separately. So it's probably not a good idea. And if you can avoid to block the others, it's a good thing also. And at the end, what we've built is what I call, just for fun and just for the presentation, the Kanban as code, because I discovered that each branch somehow is a Kanban card. It's the Kanban card on the board. You can visually have that on your code base. You can count the branches. You can try to limit the number of branches, which is we didn't really work like this, but we have that idea in our mind. If I have more than 40 branches with 20 devs, I have an issue. But limiting the number of branches would be a good way to improve the system and to understand if the things are getting faster by limiting the number of branches. And that's it. quite at the end. And we have a blog where we are trying to explain that in French, and some articles maybe in English soon. That's it. Thank you a lot. Any questions?
Thanks for your presentation. It was very interesting. I might be a bit nasty with my question, I might admit. You are showing a great deal of work. It's working properly, etc. And I heard at the beginning of your presentation that you have a headcount of 25.
Yes.
What about people? I mean, how did they adapt to this? Are you doing visual management in order to prevent conflicts, for example, in the code, like you said? How is it working with them?
So that's another part of the story. It's more getting to the lean Kanban part of the organization. We have feature teams. We have devs focused on their feature. So we have some visual management. We have features, but the features with that way of working are value-driven and independent value, ready to be delivered when it's finished. So there's no technical blockers. The devs can focus on their work, and the work is linked to a value ready to be delivered when finished. So I don't see any big issue with that. And we don't discuss much about that anymore. There's for sure some tricky parts and some headaches for the release system, but it's like everywhere. But this way of working, it's been 2 years, and we don't feel the pressure to change or to go to the trunk-based management deployment, which is a really interesting way of working. But with what we have, it's a safe place. We don't have much issue with that, and that's it. And people can have their usual problems, but it's not the system causing any issue with that.
I have one. When we heard from Auchan Direct earlier this morning, they said that they were really listening to their customers. They showed emails and things like that, and they say that what they want is to satisfy completely the customer. What kind of impact do you have on your customers?
Sorry. That's free to the rest of the team. I'm really, in that presentation, focusing on what occurs. My users are the coders, in fact, with that system. I'm doing some ergonomics at the development, on the development system. So it's the user is the developer. It was my work to organize the development team, and my user was the developer. On that presentation, in that context, the client is the developer. And I'm avoiding him to have headaches. He can focus on his work. And for sure, after, about the feature, about the product, we have some practices like Auchan Direct, but it's, for me, not the scope of that subject. But I like to have and to observe the developers using the code. I cheated or not?
Thank you for that. That was really interesting, Dimitri. Question for you. The continuous delivery is basically every coder commit on the trunk. And I would like to know if this is something that you kind of plan for the future, or is it just something that is not on the map right now for your team?
We wanted to go there. But where we are, we don't feel the pressure to go there. What we'd like to do now is more to release each branch separately. When a branch is ready, it goes live. And after, it's another work that getting the branches shorter to have a better lead time with a smaller number of commits in it that will bring us back to the trunk-based deployment. When we'll have only one commit per branch, we won't need that anymore. But it's more a mistake we've done, and we are fine with that. But for me, it's also interesting learnings about that, splitting the branches, that in feature branches, there's isolation of value, and you can get independent from the others. So, but yeah, we tried and we failed to get trunk-based deployment.
Thank you, Dimitri, for your presentation. It was really interesting. From my understanding, I have the feeling that your way of working is also bringing another benefits. Is that your team of developers could scale very easily. I mean by having independent branches and having the people working in an autonomous way, I'd say. You could grow your team to more developers, and still the way and the system you have discovered would work. Have you observed that?
I know that Dailymotion is using the same kind of system, not the same technology at all, but discussing together, we discovered that they've done exactly the same thing, and there's like 60 or 70 developers using the same system. So yes, it's probably scales. There's probably a limit because merging 100 branches, I won't bet on that. But it depends on the size of your code and how many conflicts you have and if it's complex. But I won't scale that much. 25 devs on the same code base is quite big, and with microservices and another way to split the system to avoid too big code bases. I guess you have many options, but I'm just shown that 25 devs on the same trunk, it can work with not that much issues. So I won't get really further, but probably it scales, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have an idea of the price? How much did it cost to buy the technical solution, the RAM, in which you make all your tests?
The tests, it's 300 euros per month server on OVH. So it's a crazy prices, sorry. But why not? No, it's and now it probably doubled, but the EG 128 server on OVH costs 300 euros per month, and you can run quite good things on it. And I guess we've open sourced a bit about that also, the way to set up the Selenium grid system. But it's yeah, it was. I was quite excited when I found that between Christmas and New Eve. So on the 2nd of January, I said we release daily now. It wasn't planned at all, but that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.